With a big update tonight in the Archdiocese of New Orleans' sex abuse scandal and the settlement agreement we've covered here for more than a year. Survivors, they've waited 6 years. Tonight, they're learning exactly how much they'll receive. Good evening and many thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Brandon Walker.
And I'm Katie Moore. But for many, it's not at all what they expected. Chief Investigative Reporter David Hammer and Ramon Antonio Vargas with our reporting partners at The Guardian have the story.
Hundreds of survivors of child sexual abuse by Catholic clergy were finally able to celebrate in December. That's when, after a 6-year battle in bankruptcy court, the Archdiocese of New Orleans agreed to pay them a combined $305 million to settle their abuse claims.
I'm glad this is over. I'm glad, I hope the church fulfills its obligations.
Richard Kuhn and the other survivors were told they'd see their checks by the spring.
A lot of survivors voted, look, I don't even care. If I can just get this over with and put it behind me, I'm going to have a check by the end of the first quarter. I'm voting yes. And that hasn't happened.
Settlement checks have been delayed, but this week, a milestone. About 700 claimants got letters telling them how many points their specific level of abuse as a child and the following decades of emotional abuse are worth. And for many like Kuhn, it's not what they expected.
Now we have points and we have dollar amounts. It's not what they told us it would be. We have a right to contest the points or challenge the points, but they're not even telling us how they allocated the points.
As a victim of rape and oral sexual abuse by multiple priests, Kuhn expected at least 125 points. The points are capped at 100, so he was sure he'd get the max, $641,425.64. Instead, claims reviewer Richard Arsenault gave him 98 points with no explanation. And now Kuhn has 30 days and must pay $1,000 to challenge it.
How I didn't get 100 points is shocking.
Yeah.
But not knowing how they're allocating or any sort of explanation, how do you challenge it?
That's a farce. I mean, to me, anybody getting raped by a man as a young boy and you're only going to get tapped out at 75 points, it's ridiculous. That is totally, I can't comprehend and put my head around it.
Aaron Hebert was fondled by priest Lawrence Hecker before Hecker went on to rape and molest other boys. Hebert spoke out, helping lead to Hecker's arrest and rape conviction. This week, Hebert got his letter, 56 points. And now he says he regrets voting to approve the settlement.
Believe me, if I would have known that it would have come to this, I would have voted against it.
Even if it meant years more of fighting?
Even if it would have meant years more. Even if I would have carried it to the door.
Kuhn says bankruptcy was the wrong place to get fair compensation.
The bankruptcy was all about protecting the church and making sure, the judge stated, the whole goal of her job wasn't to adjudicate and provide justice. Her job was to make sure that the archdiocese could survive after the bankruptcy.
Right. It's about reorganization so that the archdiocese can continue to operate going forward.
That's correct.
And it's left survivors comparing their awards, with the few survivors who managed to get multi-million-dollar settlements in court and with each other.
You and I both know there are other survivors who don't deal with these issues emotionally as well as you do, and I can't separate those things.
I have been being bombarded with phone calls from survivors, and I'm trying to help them as much as I can and trying to put it in perspective. And, it's not a good idea to compare, but at the same time, you can't help. I think the reason we have talked to one another and shared the points and the values that we've gotten is because we want to know that we are being treated equally.
And the overwhelming feeling from survivors right now is they're not. David Hammer, WWL, Louisiana.
Settlement trustee Don Massey said the church was, quote, uninformed when it promised payments by the spring, and he's working as fast as possible to get the money to survivors. Points decisions were made by Richard Arsenault, a lawyer in Alexandria. He didn't return our call seeking a comment.